Hello comrades, my name is Fritz and welcome back to F1 Challenge 99-02 and welcome to the Nurburgring for the European Grand Prix. Now I've already done a bad thing, stupid thing, and accidentally skipped qualifying, so we will be starting from the back of the grid, and I have just realised I've got all of my assists on at the moment, so we're going to have to just quickly get onto this straight bit and turn them all off. That's fine though. The times that they were setting in qualifying were in about 1:24, and I was about 1.5 to 2 seconds off the pace in a couple of the practice sessions, so we should be okay for race pace on that front. Yeah, the European Grand Prix is set to be a good one. We've got a good circuit ahead of us, and yeah, we should be fairly competitive. I have turned the difficulty down slightly because it did get quite boring in those last couple of races, just lounging towards the back of the field. And yeah, it was very demoralising just trying to drive so fast, beyond our abilities, beyond the abilities of the car, especially at Monza, that very high-speed circuit. We simply did not have the speed, so I've turned the difficulty down a bit, hoping for a more relaxed gameplay session, so I don't have to be so panicked all the time. I can concentrate on talking to you and delivering good commentary, rather than constantly fighting the car and fighting everyone around me. This is kind of beginner difficulty as opposed to intermediate. There is a novice difficulty as well. The scaling gets a bit confusing. I think it's kind of a progression in terms of the lap time by a few seconds at each interval. So yeah, that's how that works. Could have been a little more gradual. Intermediate's a bit too tricky for me, whereas occasionally this current setting beginner can be a little too easy. Once you get to the front of the grid, you just tend to pull away because they don't fight back. In the warm-up session, we are setting our first flying lap. That time on the left is where I'm habitually looking, but that's just the session timer. We don't have those in the other sessions. It's kind of unique to this particular one at the moment. But yeah, I can talk to you a bit about the Nurburgring circuit itself. This is just a tiny portion of the Nurburgring track. There is the entrance into the main forest area, or the Green Hell, as Jackie Stewart affectionately christened it. This track, the South Curve, as it were, was built in about 1984, but the lap record for the whole circuit is 6 minutes 11. That was set by Le Mans driver Stefan Beloff in a Group C Porsche 956. A wonderful, wonderful car. If you are presented with the opportunity to go and see one of those in the flesh, then please do take it. I strongly urge you. But yeah, this is just a tiny bit. Used for kind of the German touring cars, DTM, and now Formula 1, amongst other things. It's a nice track. I'll show you actually where the track branches off into the main ring. It's about 12 miles of circuit through the forest, often very foggy and treacherous, and it's right about here at the 50-metre board, where you just turn into a very closed-off, barriered section on either side, very claustrophobic, very fast actually, before it opens out into the main forest section. And that was a 1:26.2, which is pretty much on the bubble in terms of where we want to be, and yeah, that's pretty good. Now, the European Grand Prix currently alternates, well, it used to alternate between the Nürburgring and Hockenheim. Both of those contracts ran out, so the European Grand Prix is now formerly the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, but then the actual term European Grand Prix has now disappeared entirely, so it's now just the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So you can consider this as a kind of joker race, where, you know, it's one of those races that kind of moves around the calendar. It's been held at kind of Donington and Brands Hatch and Silverstone, amongst other places, along with places like Jerez in the 1997 championship, where Jacques Villeneuve crashed into Michael Schumacher and got Schumacher disqualified from the entire points championship. So yeah, that wasn't an entirely successful year for Michael Schumacher and the Ferrari team, but Williams clinched the drivers that year, so yeah, that wasn't too bad. I think we are slightly down on our previous lap time, but this is probably going to be the last flying lap before I head into the pits for the start of the actual European Grand Prix here at the magnificent Nürburgring circuit. And around the final corner we come. Car feeling nicely balanced in its default setup. I haven't added any more steering lock because it has the tendency to get quite twitchy on the chicane sections. That was 7/10 off the pace, but yeah, our tyres are clearly kind of falling apart now, so I'm going to head back to the pits and I'll see you for the start of the European Grand Prix. Okay, here we are now, about to begin the 1999 European Grand Prix. And there is mist in the air, there is water on the ground at the start of this race. Everyone is starting on the either hard or soft slick tyre. I'm going to inch forward in the box because I don't have launch control. I'm used to having the launch control in the later Formula 1 cars in this game. Lights out, away we go, and it's an interesting start. I got nowhere to go, but of course that doesn't matter because I'm at the back of the grid, and whoa, that was a close call with Tuaro Takagi there. Whoa, very nasty indeed. They're moving in the braking zone, 100% illegal in modern Formula 1 terms, but that was absolutely outrageous. All the way up to 9th place. Can we scythe through past Jacques Villeneuve? Yes, we can. We'll talk about it in a minute. There's Damon Hill. Sorry, not Damon Hill. It's Heinz Harald Frentzen in the Jordan. We had a bit of a run-in with him at Silverstone and at a couple of other races. Main objective here is to beat Barrichello and our teammate, who's just right up there, Ralf Schumacher in the sister Williams car. There is Jarno Trulli in the Prost team. Had a bit of trouble with him as well at Monza and indeed in Belgium. Tracking Ralf Schumacher up into this kind of left-right Allen key section here before the run down to the hill and then up again towards the final chicane. Car getting a bit twitchy on the curb there, losing a bit of ground to Jarno Trulli, and the gap pretty much even between two cars ahead and behind us, braking late into the chicane. There's the brakes and Schumacher more gradual on those anchors. Schumacher getting away a bit there, but that's fine. Braking at the 50, bit of a slightly non-optimum line through the final corner, but can accelerate a bit earlier on that note. And 1.4 seconds the gap to Ralf Schumacher. Can we do anything on the brakes into turn 1? We can certainly get closer. Not sure about practicing any kind of mad overtaking manoeuvre. It's a long race, 5 laps to go here at the European Grand Prix, and all is looking good. You see, with this kind of lower difficulty setting, we can have some exciting wheel-to-wheel racing. We're not close enough, whilst also having a bit of fun. So yeah, not too bad in the end. Now, it's certainly not a walk in the park, as you woke up braking very late for the hairpin. That could have been quite nasty. Rubens Barrichello, our other championship rival, we were beaten by him quite catastrophically at Monza, having a little lift into this banked curve, 124 miles an hour. I can go a bit faster in the later cars, the McLaren of 2001 in particular, carrying about 140 through there as we go very wide into this section. Tracking Barrichello in his wheel marks here, once again a bit wide there, missing the apex. Does mean we can get on the power earlier through this section. There is Barrichello up ahead. Can we get on the brakes quite aggressively at the chicane, pull into his slipstream, hit the brakes at the marker, and well, the frame rate is absolutely tanking. Sorry about that. That has not happened before. Having a bit of Hockenheim, but yeah, not as severe as that. And we go very wide into the final corner. I can't do anything about it. The frame rate is stopping me from doing anything useful as we drop back through the field into 10th place. That was a complete disaster. Not entirely sure what's happening there, I'm afraid. The frame rate is killing our race right now. We should be able to get back into contention. The field has spread out a bit, but we should be fast enough to make some moves. We were actually ironically fastest in the warm-up by 4 seconds. I think the track got a bit muggy towards the end by the time the faster guys came out onto the asphalt. Braking here, keep it nice and conservative, hit the apex and then accelerate out towards the bottom hairpin here. Halfway down the field as a result of our little kerfuffle at the final corner. Round the outside of Alexander Wirtz, that was a textbook racing manoeuvre. And then up the inside, Jacques Villeneuve and Frentzen, like we did on the first lap, back into 7th place. Jarno Trulli up ahead, that was the Prost that we almost got collected by as we spun off the track on that final lap. Or the previous lap, rather. Brake at the 50, cruise it through here. There's the apex, get that nicely down to a T. Not entirely sure if we can catch either Barrichello or our teammate Ralf Schumacher, but we can try our damned hardest. Frame rate's doing okay as we head into this part of the lap, unlike last time. That's where we spun. You might see our little wheel marks there. Yep, there they are on the asphalt over there. Gap down to 2.1 seconds between us and Jarno Trulli. Ralf Schumacher, I assume, getting away, although we are in clear air, and actually Barrichello is brake checking Ralf Schumacher up ahead. I can just see in the distance, so it looks like we might be in with a good shout of taking those two guys by the end of the race. This is going to be an exciting finish to the European Grand Prix as we get held up behind Jarno Trulli once again. Actually, Ralf Schumacher approaching in the distance. We should have a good last of the late breakers into the hairpin. That was a textbook overtaking manoeuvre. Good overtaking spot that in the European Grand Prix. You saw that on the previous lap with Alexander Wirtz and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Good 130 miles an hour. I think they're a bit faster than we were through the previous laps. That is looking quite good. Brake for this tricky section. Not getting the car quite as slowed down as I would have liked. That should be fine though. Keep it nice and tidy. Don't use too much curbs and you will end up spinning. Lap 4 of 6 here, we're about to go on to the penultimate lap of the European Grand Prix, and our main championship contenders sit just ahead of us. This is going to get very interesting indeed as we run onto the closing stages of the European Grand Prix. Brake at the 50, keep it nice and tidy, don't overdrive the car, you want to stay consistent. Lap times are looking good, 1:26.6, not quite as fast as the 1:26.2 that we hit in the Sunday morning warm-up. We've got a yellow flag up ahead, that is Michael Schumacher, and we get on the grass there, that's not too good. And Michael Schumacher is out of the race, that is our car. Zanardi in the Williams, I should mention, into the top 5 positions. Now, as we bear down on Ralf Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello. Late braking once again into the hairpin, tucked right under the rear wing of Barrichello as our teammate, and closing fast ourselves here in the Williams. Can we try anything through this fast section? I'm going to lift off a bit here. We are better on the brakes up the hill here, so we might be able to get past both of them in one fell swoop. Late braking once again, not quite close enough. Let's keep it tidy. Very nice. Barrichello being a bit conservative on the exit of this corner. Running into the slipstream of Ralf Schumacher, hoping he goes for the apex. Round the outside, he's not giving me enough space. That's fine, it's late braking into the final chicane. There we are. Now Schumacher up the inside, we should have been a bit more aggressive. We do have the inside, we take the cut back into the final corner, stay on the inside, no illegal blocking. It's one move in the braking zone, unlike the Benetton or the Sauber on that first corner. Concertina as we hurtle down on the first lap. Barrichello in our sights, the field warning light has come on. Can we try anything into turn 1? Not quite close enough, and Barrichello nicely slowing the car down on the brakes here. And braking hard into here. Ralf Schumacher might try a bit of a slingshot manoeuvre around the outside, he didn't, so it proves that he wasn't quite close enough. Schumacher tyre performance beginning to drop off as we head into the final closing moments of the race. Barrichello very slow at the entrance into the hairpin, getting a bit wide. Will he try the cutback? I can see him in my mirror. Yes, he will. We have the drive on the outside. That's the advantage of taking that hairpin a bit wide. Can get on the power that little bit earlier. But it looks like we're up into third place. It's unlikely that we'll catch the McLarens of Coulthard and Hakkinen. But this is set to be our best finish of the year, and also probably our most exciting. I mean, we are used to having this rather annoying train of cars behind us, which doesn't really help the gameplay or the race, because it just backs everyone up, and then it's just not very exciting, because nobody tries to overtake each other, and it doesn't really have the same effect as, you know, a real Formula 1 race. As we head out of the final corner, Coulthard finishes, and it's a strong finish for Zanardi in the Williams team as we take third place at the European Grand Prix. And there are the two McLarens, your victors, with the Ferrari stricken in the background. And that concludes this episode of F1 Challenger's World Drivers' Championship. I do hope you enjoyed, and I do hope to see you next time for what I believe is going to be one of the closing races of the season. My name is Fritz, and I will of course see you on the other side.